So this I wanted to talk about like auditions, like how some like so with me when I get like no knocking on anybody, like this just is my preference. And I usually get auditions. I know you see it. I know I see some people. They'll say, "Hey, got an audition." They'll go to audition and stuff like that. I don't because I don't want anybody asking me like, "Oh, how'd it go? Did you get it?" Because I like to do my auditions, literally take the slides and just out, just gone, done. If I get a call, I've got them digitally. I can reprint them or whatnot like that. But usually when I'm finished, it's out. It's on to the next thing right away. So I usually never. I don't announce when I have auditions. So for now, like for some of the ones I know for now that I know that were actually pretty cool. That's what I'll talk about now. Is some of the ones I've done currently, or at least in the past and stuff like that. That are some people may know. So for one of the biggest ones was so I did a few pilots. Like one was on TNT called oh my goodness, what was the name of this dang show? Something, but it was with Jennifer Beals, not Jessica Biel, Jennifer Beals from Flashdance. Or if you've seen Denzel Washington's Devil in a Blue Dress, she was the main female lead. So it was a show with her. She was the main doctor, but there was an intern doctor from Africa, from Sudan, and I got the audition for this. So the audition said that I need to have an African accent. So I'm like, cool, no problem. It's what we do, right? So I go sit down with my acting coach or whatever like that, and we go over, because they also do dialogue or training and stuff like that, or act for accents and all that stuff like that. I forgot what the name of the job was. So we're just studying, looking at YouTube, listening to stuff, doing it, training for a good few hours. So next day I go, I put this stuff on tape, send it out. Next thing you know, I get a call back. So I'm like, okay, now shit's getting real now. So I actually have to go into the office. So I go into the office with the lady, just me, casting director, camera. Like I was saying last time, me, casting director, camera, that's it. And I do it, and she's giving notes and all that stuff like that, and how you doing it. And at the end, she was like, how long did it take you to do that? I'm like, just did it yesterday, started training yesterday and stuff like that. Asked where I was from, and I leave. It's like I said, but this was the next round. So we waiting to see what's up. I ended up losing the role to, if you've seen X-Men First Class, he was the only other black dude in X-Men. He was the only other black dude in X-Men First Class. He was the one who stuck his head in the thing and his gills grew. That's who ended up getting the role. And he also was in Twilight and stuff like that. So, I lost the role to him. Hey, I'm feeling proud about myself type kind of thing. But, but it was a big moment, because it was like if I would have got that job, a lot of shit would have changed. Because even the show even got picked up for a few more episodes and actually aired and stuff like that. So it was really huge. So then I ended up with that. I ended up looking up who the casting director was, and that casting director actually was Lorraine Mayfield. For all you artists out there who know some casting directors, it was Lorraine Mayfield, who was really nice, and she loved it, and she kept calling me in for different stuff. Unfortunately, I lost representation and stuff like that. So she lost contact with me before she started casting all the Marvel films, and so it's just like I could have got Luke Cage, all this stuff, whatever. But that was one. Another really big one was Atlanta with Donald Glover, right? Donald Glover. Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm Donald Glover because I always think Danny Glover, Donald Glover, or Childish Gambino, aka Childish Gambino. I auditioned to be the cousin, the one that played Paperboy by Brian Henry, I think is his name, is the guy's name who got the role. But yeah, I was in that. I remember getting the thing. He sang the show called Atlanta with this guy named Donald Glover. I mean, at the time, Donald was he was like on the verge of coming up and stuff like that, so you kind of knew who he was. But no, I remember going in, auditioning for it, doing all that stuff like that, going in, and ended up hearing this dude Brian Henry got it. I didn't at the time didn't know who Brian was, but you know, hey, I lost it to freaking Brian. I mean, but hey, the dude's great now, you know. I mean, but I mean, he also went to Yale, not you know as an excuse or anything like that, but I mean, this dude went to Yale. I lost it to a legitimate, you know, I can see if I lost it to Joe Smo, but you know, off the street. But I lost it, you know, this guy who, you know, studied at Yale and all this great stuff like that. So, you know, I just know that I'm getting there to where if I'm competing with these type of people. But yeah, but that Atlanta one, and then y'all see how Atlanta went. So I wish I would have gotten freaking Atlanta. That would have, no telling what that would have done and stuff like that. But, you know, it's just one of those things, not for me, something else for me down the road later down, you know, line and stuff. So that was one. Another one was Tina Fey was executive producing it. It was a pilot, and I remember I remember auditioning. You know what? I remember auditioning for it at the Warner Brothers area because the casting directors were the same casting directors for The Big Bang Theory. So I went into them multiple times, like going in. It was for this show for this comedian named Fortune Feimster, and I was going to be her best friend. So big role, but ended up losing it to a dude named Chris Redd, who is on SNL right now. The show didn't get picked up or anything like that. It was just, you know, got to pilot and that was it. But, you know, hey, dude, Chris Redd is on SNL and all that stuff. Didn't lose it to Joe Schmo and all this stuff like that. So another great, you know, just, you know, I say it's one of those things, man. You just keep going, and you know until you know that right one comes along for you. But yeah, those, you know, but you know ones like that, Lorraine Mayfield, she kept calling me in and stuff like that. Even like with the Shameless, you know, they kept calling me in. You know, it's all, like I say, it's all about that process, man. You know, so you get the process down right. It's I mean, yeah, you keep getting called in until you get that yes, and then, you know, your career goes, you know, somewhere that you never could imagine. But you know, things will start changing. But yeah, man, those are some good auditions. Also, too, you know what, with you know, so those are some good auditions that I know I had that could have set everything off. I'm pretty sure there's more. I just probably can't remember because, like I said, I just tossed those things straight out. But also too on that end of auditions, man, like you hear some crazy stuff because even the ones when you're not auditioning for shows, you audition maybe like for talent managers, stuff like that. Man, I've heard some crazy stuff. The first talent manager I didn't even audition. I just went to sit in the office. And I'm sitting across from him. He's just silent, just staring at me. And I'm thinking, I hope this ain't one of those weird, you know, Hollywood story shit that I hear where, you know, this, you know, something weird's gonna happen. But the dude looks at me and he's like, I'm looking at you and you're not a Tom Cruise, you're not a Brad Pitt. You'll never lead a movie ever in your life. And I'm like, excuse me? I'm not Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt? Yeah, you damn right. I ain't Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt. I'm Dontrail Brinson. I'm like, I have nothing to do with them. Like, they have nothing to do with my career. And well, they could, you know, they can put me in a damn movie. Brad Pitt, come on. Plan B. But I'm like, as far as me being them, like, the fuck out of here, man. Like, yeah. So, like, hearing stuff like that, man, it's, like, it really, like, I can totally understand, like, how some of this stuff can really knock somebody down. Like, especially if you're one of those people that really take things to heart seriously. Like some shit that you hear, man, is just like it could be like soul crushing type kind of thing. But even nowadays, it's like, people's like, oh, you hear no, 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 no. Honestly, you don't even hear no. You don't hear shit at all, and that's even the more. I think that's even more like stressful. It's like you waiting and waiting and waiting, and you don't hear anything. So I think that's why I just take it. I never say anything about auditions. I take the shit and I just throw it out, because I'm just like, I'm not gonna sit here and wait on something, or I think I'm just moving to the next thing and just keep it moving. If you want me, at my number, hit me up, boom. But I'm over here, two-stepping. So yeah, man, it's like the audition process. I mean, from those first few ones that I had, where it's just like, you can take the good with what it is. I mean, like how big those auditions were and stuff like that. I could have been down on myself, but I'm just like, I look at it like, I'm in the room with these big name people, and I'm losing it to them. I'm just like, let's keep this train moving. Yeah, like eventually somebody's gonna give me that nod and was like, we want that dude. Oh, another one. I do remember this one audition. It was a commercial. I don't remember exactly but I remember sitting in this room and it was a bunch of people because it was several commercials in different rooms. And I was sitting down and I'm looking at this dude who was like directly right across from me. And I'm looking at him like, man, where have I seen this dude's face before? It's just like, I just seen it. And it hit me and I'm like, it was the dude who played Waldo from Family Matters. Like straight, just sitting across from me. But I mean, it's like, dude, we go into some of these things, man, and like I say, as they started gotten bigger and bigger, I'm literally sitting across or next to these people who I'm recognizing from these other shows or movies and stuff like that. Because I had that one, and even that same one, Justin Hires from MacGyver. He was also in Rush. He was also the TV show Rush Hour. He played Chris Tucker's role. He was in there because I remember stopping and talking to him, but he didn't have any of these roles yet. And I didn't even know that he was from St. Pete's, from same place where I was from. And he went to Gibbs, which is like right down the street from where I grew up at. Didn't even know him. Sitting there, we talking to each other about it, and we were talking about the dude Waldo and whatever like that. And I just happened to remember one day being home and see like this the thing for Rush Hour. Like, wait, that's the dude that we was talking to. The thing. You never know when it's gonna happen. That's these auditions. You just never know which one where somebody's gonna say yes. With another one, because I remember going in back for Shameless for like the second or third time. It was like Shameless. I remember sitting across from this lady, and it was just like, I've seen this lady before. I know it, but some other group of people was talking about something, I don't know, and she commented on it and stuff like that, and then we were talking and giggling back and forth. But it wasn't until after she left I recognized who she was. She was the lady. She was in iRobot, in the beginning of iRobot, the lady with the inhaler who the robot went to go get the purse for, and she called Will Smith an asshole. She also was in Bad Boys 2 in the video store with the kids. It was like, you got, these shows and freak shows in here. Tells you two need Jesus. It was her. That was her. And I just recognized her and stuff like that. But like I said, man, no matter what you do, I mean, they got to sit in these audition rooms just like us and do the same thing, man. But I mean, auditions are just, they hit or miss. They're up or down. I mean, you can hear some crazy stuff, man, but you got to take how it is. I mean, yeah, it could be soul crushing type kind of stuff. Because I mean, no telling what you can hear from people. You too fat. You too skinny. You too this. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Blah. Take it with a grain of sand, man, and just jump and keep it moving. But I love the process. I love the process of auditioning. Just actually physically going. I mean, sometimes you got to self-tape and record it or do whatever. Especially when you're far out, I have no problem with doing it. But I do appreciate that face-to-face that you get and being able to perform in front of somebody and doing it. But yeah, man, like like, eh, just for more or less this is for the people who aren't in the realm of acting and stuff like that, man. That auditioning, like, literally until I got to Hollywood and really and was there and experienced some of this shit. Like, you know what? I totally understand why some actors are assholes. Like, I understand why some people are kind of shaded off and jaded and whatnot like that, man, because they probably dealt with a bunch of shit coming up. Not saying that's an excuse for being of who they are, but I understand, type kind of thing. Not saying that anybody should be that way, but you know what? I understand. I don't know what you've been through, what somebody said to you or whatnot, but yo, it's a tough little gig. It's definitely a tough little business out there, with the auditioning. And I know some people in there going like, "Oh man, I totally understand what you're saying," and stuff. But yeah, man, the auditioning stuff was just. I know I've auditioned for so much more stuff. I just can't remember things off of the top of my head, off of other shows. Oh, you know what? Staying in hell yes, I can remember, because this was one that really stood out to me. Don't remember the casting director's name, and I wouldn't even call him out right now. But I remember going into this thing, and it was a female, white female, if that matters, maybe. I think it does. I don't know. So she gave me directions. She was like, "I want you to do this like you're high, like you've just been smoking and stuff like that." And I was just like, okay. So I did it. She was like, she's like, "I don't know." She's like, you've been high before. And I looked at it and I'm just like, no, I haven't. And she just like paused and looked at me like, "What do you mean you've never been high?" I'm just like, yeah, what is it? What is it? A shock that I've never been high? What? Because I'm black, I'm supposed to have been high? Tell me what part of I never been high don't you fucking understand? And she was just like, "Well, maybe this role just isn't for you. I'm gonna call you back as the cop." And I was like, maybe I should have been called in as the cop in the first goddamn place. Like, yo, I for me, the whole thing about coming in for those roles, about thug and stuff like that, like, I understand, beggars can't be choosers. We can't. But I know my lane. And I can do, whatever kind of thug-ish, whatever you need, but it's gonna be in my way. But it probably ain't gonna be what they're looking for. It's gonna be in the best of my ability of what I know how to do, and that makes it seem right and comfortable on my own terms, which is the best I can do, because I have to bring in what I think and interpret this character is, and that's what I'm gonna do. But in the other sense, I honestly, out of everything where I was like a thug-ish or whatever, gangster, never got a call back. Everything where I was like the pilot where I was like, the second, would have been like the second highest person on the show. I got called back for that. Doctors, lawyers, I always got callbacks for that, because that's my lane. I know what the fuck I'm doing. Just like if I get Star Trek, Star Wars, anything to do with sci-fi or something, I got it. It's a wrap. But when people, the thing is the process is, it's like when people are looking at you, they ain't seeing that in me. They see most of y'all know me. It's because they don't know me. And, you got to get to know somebody to really know it. But, I'm guessing when they look at my picture, they see that. I don't know. Who knows? But we're working on that. Put a brother in Wakanda, let me work some technology in this thing. So, dude, all that is the audition process, man. From people looking at your pictures, thinking, are you the right person from a picture, not even knowing who your personality is or whatnot like that, and stuff. So, yeah, man, it's a tough thing. Auditioning is a tough process, man, on anybody, because especially if you're sensitive with your feelings and stuff like that, because I mean, it could knock you down, and stuff like that. Especially like I said, if you're really sensitive, that no or that silence can just will kill you and make you quit. But yo, we're out here doing this thing and getting rejected 90% of the time, but it's that tenth of percent that you're gonna get, and that's all it takes, man. It's just that narrow chance or whatever like that to get what it is that you. I mean, that's for you. I mean, that's the thing, man. It's that role, that perfect role that's set for you. But I mean, that's the thing where people, you got to keep doing it until that one particular role that's set for you and only you, that you get it and you knock it out. But I mean, you just got to get to it. So here's to that day that, they call a brother in to be that Bond villain, or to be that Star Wars character or Star Trek, next to Picard. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. But yeah, man, that's that auditioning process. So yeah, I've had some big ones with shows and stuff like that. I'm trying to think, did I have any more that were something crazy type kind of thing happen? But no, but yeah, I mean, I've been on every studio just doing it, and it's just a grind, man. It's an absolute grind of studying, learning who the characters are, stepping into the shoes of the character and portraying it and stuff like that, but bringing a little bit of you to who it is. Actors, I know y'all know it, and I'm not telling you anything new. This is just for the people who are outside of this realm and stuff like that. So I know you know and stuff, but yeah. So here's on to some of the more of the good stuff, man, that I can audition for. Some of the biggest stuff, but we'll see. Auditioning. I had to think about it's thinking about what to talk. Oh, I still haven't talked about the Black Panther the premieres and stuff. I'm gonna get into that next, after this, when I stop coming home and eating food and falling asleep on the couch, and I'm still not fat. All right, thank you for listening to that.